Why does boxing need the Undisputed game series? And today I got Money, Makin, Mitch on here, and we're going to discuss why the boxing community actually, for one, want this game, why boxing needs this game, and why Undisputed has to get it right. And even if they don't, we're forgiving. But Money, Makin, Mitch, man, go ahead. Just why does boxing need this game?
Well, when you think of boxing, right now it's all about the exposure. Previously, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, boxing was at the height of sports. It was the titan of sports. And all of a sudden, we're on decline. And I contribute that to, again, a lack of household names. When you think of boxing, you ask any casual fan right now, who's boxing? Either they're going to name Floyd Mayweather, who's retired, or they're going to name Jake Paul, who's up and coming. Now, the thing with Jake Paul is, what I respect about Jake Paul is he's bringing the excitement back to boxing. He's bringing that exposure back. But, us diehard boxing fans who critique boxing at a high level, when it comes to this undisputed game, it's nostalgia for us to go back and relive some of the greatest moments in boxing history. And then for the casual fans, you can learn the boxing history and then as well actually learn some of the boxers who are currently competing at a high level right now that a lot of us really don't know.
Yeah, that exposure is needed for sure. And a lot of young people within our days do look at Floyd Mayweather, who is retired. They don't. They think Jake Paul is probably the best boxer to ever put gloves on, and don't realize that he's a great amateur. At best, he could beat like we watched that one video. He could beat someone in a bar fight, maybe be a bouncer. But as an actual boxer, for those who actually, like as you stated, critique it at a high level, can really look at the sport and tell who's going to be great, who's going to be bad, and understand all those aspects. It's like literally appreciating a good game of chess. And just seeing the gameplay, just seeing how well it looks, and just knowing how exciting it's going to be just to put them gloves back on. And just take into account, people wonder like boxing games, they have not been coming out for the past 10 years. This is almost a decade where we have not been able to play an actual boxing game, a good quality boxing game, and not a goofy one. They came out with that one Rocky game, but we ain't gonna talk about that one because we threw that away. I ain't even played a demo of that. UFC dominated it when it came to actually playing an actual combative sports game that's supposed to be somewhat realism, a simulation. But even with that, I kind of hated how they would get on the floor and they would grapple, and you could see they like crawl over each other like Spider-Man and shit. I hated that. I just hated the way it looks, and it's just like ooh, move the controller, the joystick this way. And again, I don't want to rag on the developers because I'm sure that's hard to simulate that in a video game and give that control maybe in the future where virtual reality is like you could really get in there and tackle and move, maybe a new type of workout game where you're really combating. I can see that, or even with boxing for sure. But at least with the controls we have now, playing Undisputed allows that control with the fists, the dodging, the haymakers. It just allows that ability to be able to have that control where it don't look as and they're not saying don't look goofy, but not as goofy as the UFC video games.
Right. And one thing too I want to point out is how you mentioned like the dodging or moving. I think another reason why this game is important, for the boxing culture is just the educational piece when it comes to boxing. Like you said, it's chess. When we watch UFC fights, of course, 9 times out of 11 fights that you're going to see a knockout, a submission, some form of excitement. Whereas when it comes to boxing, you may not always see a knockout with boxing, but you might see this. But playing the game can give you an understanding the science of boxing. How those who critique Floyd Mayweather of, he doesn't always attack. Well, then now you're going to understand, what it looks like to basically the goal is just to hit and not get hit. You give you a greater respect of defense. And I think by playing this game, just as a casual fan, you'll start to see why, the dodging, to understand what a Philly shell defense is, while all of
Yeah,
that plays important.
for sure. People are going to see the science behind it. They're going to see like, man, this is tough just from playing the game. This ain't a button masher. This ain't a game you try to go
Exactly.
out and knock your person out in the first few rounds. This is understanding your opponent. And when you get online, and mind you, and I'm going back from the fight night days, when, we used to play online and you would verse somebody, it was always reading your opponent. It was like, all right, and you had a strategy, and you literally came in with a strategy as though you're a real life boxer. Like you
Exactly.
literally like, okay, this is their gameplay. Or I'm with the jab. I'm gonna open them up. I'm gonna get into that body, and it was just one of those games where that you really enjoy the complexity, trying to read your opponent, not knowing what they're gonna do. You sitting there, you going out, you just throwing flurries, and then they hit that chin one good
Exactly.
time and knock you down. Guess what? It's a great lesson, and that's the beauty in
Hmm.
the game. I don't know the politics on why they actually canceled the series or stopped making it. Maybe it's something political, money, or something, but it did a bad thing for the sport, and the
Oh
sport
yeah.
needs it because over the past 10 years, and I don't have the exact figures, but boxing declined. People weren't sitting here watching it and enjoying. UFC was taking over. But now,
Exactly.
and again, I give props to the Paul brothers, man. They from Ohio, so people can say what they want about them. I mess with them, man. They cool. Like,
Yeah.
they funny. It's all about marketing and money, and they brought an excitement back to the sport of boxing. Even if Jake Paul, who's about to verse Tommy Fury, he loses. Who cares? He's
Who
bringing
cares?
just that attention back. Get kids off the couch, going into the boxing gym, wanting to work at it. Hell, even if they go into the UFC, the mixed martial arts, it doesn't matter. But it's just bringing that excitement back to the combative
Exactly.
sports and not having that attitude towards boxing, which was for a while it was boring. I didn't even know who the major fights were. If it wasn't
Exactly.
Mayweather, I didn't know who was in it. I was like, who? Some lightweight, no
Exa-
heavyweight, no this, no that. Like I didn't even pay attention to it. But had I had this boxing game, I believe I would have been a lot more interested in keeping up with the sport.
Right. And even with that, and I will say this too, like even when this game comes out, you're gonna, which is a detriment to the sport of boxing, which again, can't really go into the politics of it, but you know, when they get to choose a character, yes, of course they're gonna know their Muhammad Ali, they're gonna know the Mike Tysons and the Roy Jones Juniors. But then again, you got guys like Canelo Alvarez, Errol Spence Jr., Terrence Crawford, Javante Davis, Ryan Garcia, guys who are actually, for the diehard boxing fans, know that they're big name fighters, but yet, they don't get the exposure that they truly deserve, because of boxing itself.
Mm-hmm.
Just the actual sport of boxing itself, not giving people what they want. Meanwhile, Dana White at UFC, if he sees money in it, we're not waiting 10 years to see it. He's putting it
Mm-hmm.
out there now. He's
Mm-hmm.
striking while the iron's hot. And I think,
Mm-hmm.
yes, we're seeing a resurgence in boxing and the popularity of it, but I think with Undisputed, with this game coming out, you're really gonna see it really move up and to the right, and we're gonna see a popularity that has been missing for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to be forgiven, like we said in the beginning. I doubt this game come out
Oh
and get
yeah.
a perfect 10. I don't believe it will, just because it's going to be fine tuning. But we live in an age now where updates and things can come out and fine tune. Hell, if Street Fighter could get
Right.
fine tuned for 5 years after it come out, be forgiven for Undisputed. It's going to need to be fine tuned. It's going to need that feedback,
Exactly.
and it's going to need that community to just play it and enjoy it, and just be honest with the developers. Like, hey, man, it says this fighter is an 88, but man, he feels like a 60. His jabs pulling back, whatever. I mean, it's so much feedback. So I just say,
Right.
as a critic, don't be so hard on the game that hasn't been made in almost a decade. From what I'm seeing,
Exactly.
I'm excited for it. So I'm gonna be forgiving. I can't wait to get into it. As long as they got the modes that the Fight Night series has when it launches, I'll be happy and
Yes.
continue to update it. Now, I would say a big problem I do notice now, and again, this come down to politics, but if you play an NFL game, you play an NBA game, and it could be just because of the association or UFC. When you have athletes who are signed within that contract, using their likeness is great. You know, their likeness is within the game. You can emulate that particular person. But it seems like within boxing, it's always like, oh, well, Mayweather's not in it because you have to pay him so much money or this. And it's just like, maybe that's just something above us that where they need to sort out. Like, hey, if you put on the gloves, your likeness can be used in the game. This brings attention to the sport. And not saying you shouldn't get paid, but you getting paid enough and so many other. At this point, it's just exposure to the sport. It's just exposure, which the sports need, because if it doesn't get it, then eventually it's going to be, if the ratings go down and people are not watching it, y'all going to start getting desperate. And you don't want to get to that point. The fighting fans are telling you, hey, put Floyd Mayweather in the game. Put Jake Paul in the damn game. Put Logan Paul in the game. I don't give a damn. You know, put y'all in the game. You put the gloves on. You went out in that ring. You went on the stage. Hey, that's hats off to anybody, to any man or woman that gets in that ring and willing to put their life on the line. You know, the least you could do is let us emulate it. Please, let us simulate the experience.
We will. I would love every second to put, you know, Logan Paul, Jake Paul in the ring. Even if they put Floyd Mayweather on the game, that in itself is going to sell. Like,
it is going to sell. It's going to sell like crazy. It's like when they put Michael Jordan on the cover of the, like every so often they put Michael Jordan as a special character, or like Kobe Bryant. I mean, it's just those things where people enjoy the greats, man. And and right now the iron is hot. We have the Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia, the Davis and Garcia fight coming up here. Was it April?
Yep.
I hope. I hope this game launches by April. Now, from the highlights I've seen, I have not seen Gervonta Davis in the game. If he's not in the game, that would be a big letdown. And Gervonta Davis needs to be negotiating. Like, hey, get me in this game. Like, yeah, get me paid or whatever, but you know, don't be unreasonable where these kids will liken to Garcia just because they see him on the game.
Yeah,
not because
that's the thing too.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's just my thing. You know, for the athletes out here. You know, again, first off, you've never done a video game before. I don't care if they pay me $20 to use my likeness. That's exposure for me. That's getting more fans behind me. You know, if I'm Gervonta Davis, if you're not in this game, you know, again, Davis, you need to be talking to somebody. Ryan Garcia, you know, Errol Spence, Floyd, even you make too much money. You can go ahead and, you know, let us use your likeness for this game. However, you know, if y'all are not on this game, it's going to be a huge disservice. It's going to be a huge letdown. I'm still going to play it. They got creative boxers. I'm going to create you anyway, so you're good.
You know what? Hey, I'm a creative boxer type of guy. I love that. Yeah. I love the aspect. I love it. I love building up my character. I love if you take that loss and it's like you get so invested, you get mad. You got to take a damn day off of work because your feelings hurt. You messed up your record. I mean, here's the thing. If you're one of those guys who love the Maddens and you love the NBA series, you love the tennis series, just imagine going through a 10-year hiatus of them not having those games. Just imagine. And that's what we went through. I don't play a lot of football games. I usually get those ever so many years, but I knew it was there and they were improving and getting that feedback. I feel like I'm going through with the NCAA guys going for the football. They went so many years, and that was all due to politics when it came to the football games, because now I believe college players are getting paid, if I understand that correctly. You know, and it was like, utilizing their likeness in the game. So they were able to come to some type of understanding to compensate them. And I'm cool with that. And they're bringing the game back out, man. I'm all for it. Now, I had a buddy back in the day. Let me say this. I had a buddy back in the day. He would legit, when a football game came out, he would like wait to play it until somebody went and put all the names on the jerseys, and he would download the rosters and plug it into the game. But that's, you know, that's how anal he was before he played it.
I even go a step further. Even if y'all make this Undisputed game and don't make another one for 5 years afterwards. Think about this. Grand Theft Auto 5, if I'm not mistaken, didn't it come out on the PS3?
It did.
And they're still adding updates to the game.
Yeah.
They done added so many updates to the game, and it's already on, and it's on the PS5 now. Like literally 2 systems later, it's the same game.
I would go with that too. Like it doesn't need to be a game that you have to bring out every year. It could be updated, pay DLC, and like I said, I mean, we some Street Fighter guys. Street Fighter 6, Street Fighter 5 came out in 2016. It just got its last update. So that's what, 6 years, 6 to 7 years of like constant updates and packs. DLC packs coming out. Street Fighter 4 was the same way before, and the game was being updated, balanced. And these games came out broken. They came out like people complained, and they just fixed it. They didn't need to come out with a Street Fighter game every year, but we knew they were being made. We knew they were being developed. They were supporting the content.
Exactly.
And I agree with you, man. Like, support this content, update it. You know, listen to that feedback, add characters, and work on the AI, because I'm the type, I will put on a legacy, like to make the AI verse each other. And I love to see like Ali versus Tyson, some heavyweights we ain't never seen verse each other before. I would just sit there and watch it. And the more realistic you can make it look, the more people going to sit there and play it. Do the predictive fighting. Like, I should be able to put in Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia just off stats and see who y'all think may win based off, the AI algorithm. Those are the things that the fans want. And you would get the playtime, you would get the commentary that you're getting, and it would keep going. Gervonta Davis won. I'll take that.
There you go. But no, that everything you said was spot on. Again, you're bringing back the exposure to boxing. You're bringing back the popularity to boxing. As athletes, you're becoming a household name. And again, some of these names already might be household names, but to the diehard boxing fan, to a guy like myself who knows it. But again, to someone who just now learning boxing, this is the perfect game. Again, I can't wait as long as they don't make this game like Killer Instinct, where you have to pay for versus mode. Other than that,
I don't see them doing that. I think a lot of people have been getting punished financially on that pay to play series. I hope they don't do that with a paywall for a lot of characters, honestly. But I'll be honest, I do see them doing that. Like if they bring Floyd Mayweather out, like, oh, it's a $10. Hey, guess what? Somebody's gonna take them same stats and create a Floyd Mayweather and be cool and use your likeness, guy. I'm not paying that money for that, unless it come in like a whole package or something. And it's no disrespect. I love Mayweather. Like much props to him, but I'm not paying it.
I understand.
Nah, I'm cool. But I think they're doing it right, man. I mean, this game is made by fans, made by guys who sat around, and if I understand it correct, it was like a few guys who just sitting around talking about it, who missed the series and decided to actually go create it. And then you got major developer behind it, and now they're bringing this to fruition. And hopefully it come out by this fall. I know the open beta is the early access, is available on Steam. So if you're a PC guy, man, get on here, get on there, go play it, give them that feedback. Give them that feedback. Play it, feel that controls, and iron it out, polish it out by the time it come out on all consoles as a full complete game. And to the guys who making it, thank you. This is a great year for gaming. There's so many remakes, there's so many things coming to fruition that the gamers are wanting. And this will be the best year for gaming, I believe, in a long time. You cannot complain.
Very long time.
So, hey, until next time, guys, this is One Take Gaming and Reviews. If you like the content, please hit the like button. Subscribe. We have more coming on the way. Money, Makin, Mitch will always be on to discuss our sports games. And we have a series coming up where we're going to start jumping into the lore of these video games. You want to hear about Dynasty Warriors and how the stories behind it are actually true? I'm sure you didn't even know that. But hey, that's until next time, guys. One Take Gaming and Reviews.
Appreciate y'all.